Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, in this video, we're going to be going over the Stamina Nightblade build for Murkmire. Now, this is kind of a DPS slash support role build, but you'll see as I go through the build. Now, stat sheets. Max health is 16.3, max stamina is 33.8. Stamina recovery is 1.2, weapon damage is 2.8, weapon crit is 46.3. Stamina is 64. I have 64 points and 2 stamina. The boon I'm running is the Lover. Now, I'm using Dubious on this build. If you want to, you buy set food. Your recovery will be around 900 unbuffed. Max health will go up to a little over almost 18k. And max stamina will be about 35k. Now, fully buffed, you're looking at 1.5k stamina recovery, 3.3k weapon damage, and 56.3. Now, this is without the weapon damage enchant proc, so you'll probably be looking at about 3.8, somewhere between 3.7 and 3.8 weapon damage fully buffed. Now, sets. I'm running a War Machine Dagger and a War Machine Axe, both infused, one with a poison damage enchant and the other one with an Absorb Stamina enchant. Running Absorb Stamina enchant, it's came out with Murkmire. It's going to deal physical damage instead of magical damage and restore stamina. So this is absolutely great for sustainability. It definitely helps with some sustain issues on some stamina classes. So, back bar, we're running a Maelstrom Bow infused with a weapon damage enchant. What the Maelstrom Bow does is increase the damage of your volley by 161 each tick. The bonus increases by 56 every time volley ticks. Now, what War Machine does. War Machine gives you max stamina, minor slay at all times, increasing your damage done by 5% to dungeon, trial, and arena monsters. Gives you weapon damage, and when you use an ultimate ability, you and the closest 2 allies within 28 meters of you gain major slayer for 10 seconds, increasing your damage done to dungeon, trial, and arena monsters by 15%. Now, you can run dual daggers if you like. It will increase your crit, but to me, I like daggers and axe because I like that dot that the axe puts. It's kind of cheesy, but I like that consistent damage from the axe. So, it's personal preference. If you don't have an axe and a dagger, and all you can get is swords, because trust me, I think I got like 6 swords and a couple of maces before I ever actually got one dagger. And then, luckily, someone in a group of mine got an axe, and they were nice enough to let me have it. So, you can use swords or even maces, but your damage will drop off by at least 3k. So, it's not necessarily major, but it is best to have axe and daggers. Monster set we are running. Sveldreth. Got a heavy head, divines with max stamina, and shoulders, medium divines with max stamina. We are running a 6-1 setup here. What this does is it gives us weapon damage, and when you deal damage, you have a 20% chance to spawn 3 disease spores in front of you after 1 second that deals 13.3k disease damage to the first enemy they hit. This effect can occur once every 9 seconds. Running a chest divines with max stamina. Now you can run infused if you have one. Infused might be a little bit better because our stamina pool is relatively low at 33k. It's not the worst, but then again, it's not the best. So you can definitely run infused here for that more stamina. You can run infused here as well for more stamina. It's just entirely up to you. Now, the second 5-piece set we are running is Reliquants. Running divines, waist max stamina, bracers divines max stamina, and boots divines max stamina. And then we are running a Reliquant necklace and ring robust with weapon damage, and a War Machine ring robust with weapon damage. Now our pants are War Machine guards. They are infused and they are max stamina. Again, usually I like to have 1 or 2 pieces of the big set, chest, legs, and head infused, just for a little bit more stamina or magicka, depending on what class I'm on. But either way, 1 is okay. Or you can do all 3. Entirely up to you. Now, cannot stress this enough. If you are not very well at weaving, and what I mean by weaving is that when you cast an ability, you light attack in between. If you have issues doing that or keeping it going, Reliquant is not going to be the set for you. This whole set, it gives you weapon crit, it gives you minor slayer, which we already have from War Machine, but it gives you more weapon crit, and then your light and heavy attacks apply a stack of harmful winds to your target for 5 seconds. Harmful winds do 258 physical damage per stack every 1 second. 20 stacks max. Now, if you, like I said, this is a very strong set if you're good at weaving, or you can weave. If you are not very good at weaving, like you just come in, you'll throw all your abilities on, you'll throw all of them down, and then you'll start attacking, or you'll throw a heavy attack or something like that. The damage that Reliquant's going to put out is going to be small. It's not going to be that high, and it's going to be pretty much useless to you. So until you learn to properly weave, I would suggest trading out Reliquants for something else. On a Nightblade, I would highly suggest running. You can do Hunting's Rage and run War Machine Jewelry, run all 3 War Machine Jewelry, and then 2 on the body, and run Hunting's Rage, and you can have your dual daggers, your axe and dagger, or dual axes, up to you. But if you have issues with weaving, like I said, Reliquant's not for you. Hunting's Rage, Briarheart, or you can, with War Machine, you can go Spriggans or Twice Fang, so you have a penetration set on. But again, like I said, if you're not good at weaving, Reliquant is not going to give you optimal DPS. It's going to be pretty bad DPS, because the whole 5-piece, the whole damage from Reliquant stems from you light attacking in between your abilities. So, and if you want to, you can also, if you don't want to be more supportive, you can drop War Machine. You can run War Machine all on the body, and then run AY dagger, axe, or dual daggers and the jewelry here, if you would like. Now, skills. Oops, sorry, done a little testing earlier. When you DPS test, you will drop Daily Cloak and normally put Rearming Trap on your front bar. It just helps with testing, because in a test, Deadly Cloak you're not going to be using. But PVE, out in the real world, Deadly Cloak is great to have, because it not only does it deal 2.2k physical damage to all nearby enemies every 3 seconds for 15 seconds, you gain major evasion, reducing your damage from area attacks by 25%. So this gives you, if you get clipped by that flame, that line of fire or something like that, this could save you. Relentless Focus. Build a deadly momentum to gain minor berserk and minor endurance, increasing your damage done by 8%, stam recovery by 10% for 20 seconds. While active, hitting an enemy with 5 light or heavy attacks changes this ability into Assassin's Scourge, allowing you to fire a single shot from a spectral bow for half cost at an enemy to deal 16.2k disease damage. You keep this up. Keep it up. You keep it going. As you can see it there. Now, even after you fire off your shot, it doesn't go away. It stays up. So normally you should be, in a rotation, you should be able to get about 2 bows off before you have to recast. Just keep that in mind. Now, I've been playing around with it in Murkmire, been DPS testing and things like that, and I have not seen it get stuck. I know Wolf Hunter, even Somerset patch, every now and then my Scourge, it would change to the bow, and then when I would fire it wouldn't change back, or it just would never change to the bow. It was kind of confusing. I'd have to literally cast it and then just count my light attacks in order to get it to come off. Now, Killer's Blade. Thoracic Blade with lethal precision, stab an enemy dealing 4.6k disease damage, and deals 300% more damage to enemies below 25% health. Heals you for 20% of your max health if the enemy dies within 2 seconds of being struck. Now, this is your execute. Once I get below 25% health, once I hit 24%, you can start using this. You'll deal some good damage. But when it comes to a rotation base, to keep your damage output up, it is best not to really start casting this until they're about 12% health. If you start using this at 24%, depending on the mob, most mobs though are still around 500,000 health, 5 to 6, maybe even 800,000. It's not going to do you any good. It's a lot of health just for you to start instabbing. So you want to keep your rotation up, and you want to keep it going until they're around 300 at the 300,000 to 200,000, depending on the mob. If it's a trial monster, 400,000 would be good. If it's a dungeon monster, about 200,000 is where you want to start just spamming this. Now, Surprise Attack is the move you want to spam. You slash an enemy dealing 8.7k physical damage and inflicting them with Major Fracture, which reduces their physical resistance by 5.2 for 17.3 seconds. Now, when you attack an enemy with Surprise Attack while sneaking or invisible, you will stun them for 4.6 seconds and set them off balance for 5 seconds. Now, PvE, really not going to be stunning anybody with this, because you're not going to be sneaking. Now, Major Fracture, usually the tank should be putting on it, but if you're running 4-man content and you don't have a tank for whatever reason, at least you know you're still going to put Major Fracture on them, so your damage is going to be okay. Now, when it comes to this spamming, I've seen so many people come in and they will light attack and spam Killer's Blade right from the start. No, because look at that. That is 5.9k crit, 3.2k uncrit. Surprise Attack 6.5 on crit. So it's already doing more than Killer's Blade on the crit. And when it crits, it's 13.6. This is the move you should be spamming. I don't know what it is lately, but I've been in a lot of dungeons where the Nightblade come in. They're CP 400. They'll throw down their dots, and they'll just start spamming Killer's Blade. I don't know why. But Surprise Attack is the move you want to spam. Not Killer's Blade. Killer's Blade is under the Assassination. Surprise Attack is Shadow. As you can see, I have a ton of points, but nothing really here learned. I learned what I need to. Printing Slashes. Slice an enemy with both weapons to cause deep lacerations, dealing 2.5k physical damage with each weapon, causing them to bleed for an additional 10.5k physical damage over 9 seconds. You also reduce their movement speed by 40% for 4 seconds. This is a huge 9k dot. So leave it alone. That's it. It'll tick. Not only that, it will also proc your enchants. It's an amazing little ability. Now, our ultimate on this bar is Incapacitating Strike. We ravage an enemy with a spinning attack, dealing 13.7k disease damage and increasing your damage against them by 20% for 6 seconds. Stunning them for 4.5 seconds when cast with 120 ultimate or more. Also flex the enemy with Major Defile, reducing healing received and health recovered by 30%. Now, for most setups, if you are not running War Machine, like let's say you're running Vicious Athenian and Briarheart, at that point it really doesn't matter which set you have active on your front bar. Normally you would want Briarheart, so on your back bar, on your bow bar, you could put Incapacitating Strike here. Or if instead of if you're running all War Machine on the body, your jewelry, or you're running jewelry and 2 on the body, if you have War Machine active at all times, you can run Incap on your back bar and run Dawnbreaker on your front bar, so it will increase the damage more here. But this is why we're more of a support build, because Nightblades can put out a ton of damage. Even with this build, you're gonna hit 40 plus if you just keep at it and keep practicing the rotation. You're gonna hit 40 plus. But what we're doing is that we're sacrificing a little bit of damage in order to boost the damage of people around us. That's it. That's the only reason why. That's why we're running War Machine. So essentially, we are putting out 800 damage in ourselves in 40k, 40 plus. So let's just say we hit 40k. We're gonna push out damage of people around us with War Machine. That's the reason why we're running War Machine. Because I might be able to kill something fast, but it will also help if the person next to me can kill it just as fast. And if War Machine helps push them over the edge there, gives them that extra damage, then that's great. That's why I'm running War Machine with Reliquants. And that's why we're having Incap on our front bar, because it is a 70 ultimate, where Dawnbreaker is a 125. Now, like I said, Dawnbreaker on the back bar, you're not really going to use this. Now, you can use this at the beginning of a fight when you're pulling mobs in a dungeon. It's not going to hurt nothing. You're going to deal 10.7k physical damage to the enemies in front of you, and an additional 12k physical damage over 5 seconds. Now, that's great. Also, while slot, your weapon damage is increased by 5%. Which, also, that 5% is more like 8% because of the passives in our Fighter's Guild. We get an extra 3% for having a weapons Fighter's Guild ability slotted. So this one move right here is going to give us an extra 8% on our back bar. So, because if you use this on the trash mobs before you get to the boss, or until you can clear all the trash for the boss, like let's say Fungal Grotto 1, you know, the very first boss, he's got a bunch of mobs there around him. You can Unbreaker, and then you'll get War Machine back, and by the time War Machine ends, you should have Incap back anyway. So then you could just single target damage the Goblin, and you'll be fine. Endless Hell. Launch multiple arrows in the sky to rain down, dealing 1.2k physical damage to enemies in target area every 0.5 seconds for 10 seconds. With the Maelstrom Bow, this is crazy damage. This alone is absolutely amazing. This can take out mobs by themselves. Now, Caltrops. Hurl an exploding ball of Caltrops that scatter over the target area, dealing 1.7k physical damage every 1 second, reducing movement speed by 30%. While the ball of Caltrops initially explodes, it deals an immediate 2.1k physical damage, and reduces movement speed of enemies hit by 70% for 3 seconds. If you have a Maelstrom Bow, this is your strongest dot. If you don't have a Maelstrom Bow, this is going to be your strongest dot. But either way, you definitely want to go into PvP and get your Caltrops, because this is going to add 3k to your DPS by itself. As long as you're consistently keeping it down. As long as you don't let it lapse for seconds at a time. So, these two together is absolutely amazing damage. Poison injection. Shoot an arrow coated in poison at an enemy, dealing 4.9k poison damage and additional 9.3k poison damage over 10 seconds. Damage over time deals up to 260% more damage to enemies under 50% health. I love to keep this up at all times. I really don't let this drop until the boss is around the 200% health. Once that is, I'll hit it one last time, or 200k, not 200%, 200k marker, my bad. I'll hit it one last time, and then I'll flip back to my dual bar and start executing. But I still keep it up because the dot is still very strong. It's still like a 10k dot every second. So every second this thing ticks during the execute phase, it's 10, 12. I've even seen it as high as 13 or 14 sometimes. It's just luck sometimes. Now, Leeching Strikes. Imbues your weapon with soul-stealing power, causing your light and heavy attacks to heal you for 1.4k health and restore 106 stamina for 20 seconds. Fully charged heavy attack stores twice the value. You store up to 4.2k additional stamina when the effect ends, based on length of time Leeching Strikes was active. This is going to allow you to sustain in most fights. As you can see, it's a 20 second. So as you're burning stamina here, just kind of let it kind of tick down a little bit. So as we go down, you're going to see after this kind of ticks, we're going to shoot up. So it's a move, it's something. And if you time these in portion with pots, you won't run out of stamina. Now, during the execute phase, after you burn through some stamina, you know, if you just need that little bit of stamina, that got about 100k health, if you're running low on stamina, and, you know, about the 10, as long as it's around the 10-second mark, you can pop it again and get a little bit of stamina. You'll get a few thousand. And it resets stuff. So as you can see, the timer started over. So you don't have to cast it and then cast it again. It's just the once. If you cast it before the 20 seconds is up, you just got to hit it as a one. So it's going to give you about 2,000 to 3,000. You know, if you wait for that 10-second mark, and then it's going to give you the. It's going to recast it. So that timer starts over. And then rearming trap. Basically, you set a blade, takes 1.5 seconds to arm, lasts for 1 minute. When triggered, the trap deals 2.8k physical damage and an additional 7.2k physical damage over 6 seconds. Immobilizes the enemy for 6 seconds, grants you minor force, increasing your critical damage by 10%. After being triggered, the trap resets and can be triggered one more time. Now, like I said, like what was it, 13.6 was the crit here? Okay. So with rearming trap down, when it procs, 14.3. So 13.6, so 700. Well, I think it's like a 739. I think 739 increase. Let's find out. What was it? 14, 379, 13, yeah. Yeah, so 763. Or 769. So it's a good. And then you take into consideration that while you have that down, let me go ahead and have that going. You'll have that, and then you'll be able to just set here. You see all them gold letters up there. They are getting more damage. And then plus when you pop a pot, you'll have a lot more as well there. So, and then plus your spectral buff. So you definitely want to keep this up consistently. Plus with the incapacitating strike, the damage that you can do with rearming trap here active, or minor force active, is crazy. This can definitely push you over the 40k mark. If you're having trouble getting there and you're using the sets, make sure you're keeping rearming trap down. If you're not keeping rearming trap down, that's probably why you're not able to reach that plateau of the 40k up. Because this right here can make all the difference with the crit damage and stuff. Now, I can't remember if I went over champion points, so if I did, don't crucify me here. But 28 into Warlord, 33 into Sprinter, 64 Tenacity, 64 Mooncalf, 9 into Shade, 28 Shadow Ward, 44 into Tumbling, nothing there, 39 Physical Weapon Expert, 40 Master at Arms, 40 Thermometer, 66 Precise Strike, 21 Piercing, 64 Mighty, 26 Ironclad, 40 Spell Shield, 39 Medium Armor Focus, 64 Hardy, 64 Elemental Defender, and 37 Quick Recovery. So, I believe that is pretty much the build. Now, the reason why we're running, I guess, back to some of the replacement sets that you can run. If you don't have War Machine, it comes out of Halls of Fabrication. You can literally farm the body pieces on normal, get your pieces there, and jewelry. Blue jewelry is not that bad to get, but you can run like 3 pieces on the body with the weapons there. You can get all that from normal Halls of Fabrication, which is, you know, in a pug group, it can be complicated because the pug group, you don't know if they have purge, because you need purge to get through the very first boss of Halls of Fabrication. If you don't have purge, if your two healers don't have purge, and at least two other DPSs or two magic DPSs or one tank, you know, if you don't have at least 4 purges going within the group, you're gonna die. You're gonna wipe. It eventually gets too much. Poison is just gonna take everybody out. So if you can't get War Machine, Halls of Fabrication, a good set to run with Reliquins. You know, if you don't, you know, if you got AY from the AY and Reliquin tends to be the most damaging output set for STAM characters. But if you don't have AY or you don't have the transmutations to transmute the jewelry because it is healthy, then Briarheart. You can go Briarheart's a good set. You can go Leviathan for crit, but it's just going to be on your front bar. You can also go Automaton. You can go Hunting's Rage. You can go Twice Fang. That comes from Sanctum Ophidian. Reliquin comes from Cloud Rest. So basically, any combinations of sets. You can run Reliquin with Briarheart. You can run Reliquin with AY. You can run War Machine with AY. You can run both of these together, or you can just drop one of these sets and run Spriggans. It's an overland set. Or if you really want a good solid DPS set that you can hit 30k with, then Spriggans, which is an overland set, and Hunting's Rage. So you have your penetration, and you have your just kind of brutal damage from your DPS. Hunting's Rage is a craftable set. Monster sets. Veldreth is probably the top set. It is pretty. Celine's no longer gets propped by Reliquins, but it's still a pretty decent set. I still loved using it. It's still a fun set to use, and I used it quite a bit up to this point. Now, Celine's is Vet, Celine's Web, of course. Veldreth is Vet Cradle of Shadows. Cradle of Shadows, kind of hit or miss. That second from last boss can be glitch crazy, and if that's the case, then you might not be able to get through it. If that's the case, then you can always rock Celine's for a more single target. Or if you do want the AoE damage, kind of like Veldreth here, because it does send out spores, you can go Stormfist, which is Tempest Island. That's a relatively can be kind of difficult at the last boss, but as long as y'all hug up on her and then separate when she does her AoE, and then hug her back, you should be fine. Shouldn't have any issues taking care of her. But if you're just getting started, you've got your Spriggans, which is a buy set, and you've got your Hunting's Rage, which is a craftable set. You can just buy Spriggans or you can farm it. And your Hunting's Rage, you've crafted that. Now you just need your monster set. You can go Crags. It comes from Fungal Grotto 1. Fungal Grotto 1, even on Vet, it's a quick 10-minute dungeon, if that. You know, you can kill that first goblin boss, you jump down the waterfall, and you go kill the final boss. You're done. That's it, and you got your monster helmet. You know, you might have to run it more than once to get the right trait you want, or just transmute it. But in general, it's a quick dungeon, and it can still give you some relatively good DPS as well. It will give you some good DPS. So, anyways, this is the build that I'm using for the Stamina Nightblade. And always, thanks for tuning in, and until next time.